Hello Year 1 and Year 2, welcome back to hashtag Well Dressed Wednesdays. I'm wearing my leopard shirt today. Quite nice. I've done a bit of writing with Year 5 and 6 about zoos and a bit of writing with Year 3 and Year 4 about wolves, so I thought this might be quite a nice shirt to wear for you guys. Unfortunately, I don't have any about aliens, but never mind. Welcome back to your writing sessions. Yesterday, we tried our first reading session on the computer with the PowerPoint and then me in the little box. But for writing, we're back in this room because this is the best way to do writing, with pens and paper or whiteboards and sharing ideas like this. So hopefully, you've still got your writing from the last few days. This is actually going to be our last writing session on the way back home, and by the end of today you'll have 4 separate sections to your writing, and that'd be really amazing. You should be really proud of yourselves for that. So before we start, let's do a little bit of a spelling, punctuation and grammar warm-up. And this one today, Year 1 and Year 2, you're both going to do the same activity. So let's see what I've got on the board for you guys today. So I've got, whoops, my pen escaped. I've got on the board 3 sentences. That is much. I want go home. I have cats. Now, each of those sentences is missing a word, and the word is to. That is too much. I want to go home. I have 2 cats. Now, to is a homophone, which means it can be spelt different ways depending on the meaning, but sound exactly the same. So here are our 3 spellings of to. Got t-o, got t-o-o, and t-w-o, t-o, t-o-o, t-w-o. Those are the 3 spellings of to. Now, which one fits in which space? Can you pause the video and have a little go? Which one of these twos is needed in that's too much? Which one of these twos is needed in I want to go home? And which of these twos is needed in I have 2 cats? And each one of these is only used once. Okay? Have a little go at that for me. Have the last little bits of my tea. Oh, it's cold. Ugh. Okay, so before we try and put them in, let's talk about what each of these twos mean. So this one here, to, this is in a place to, location, or a letter, for example. So in place, I want to go there. That's the verb, isn't it? Or I go to this place, like a location. Or the letter is I'm writing to. It's that kind of to. This one is too much, or too little, or as well as. So you got that's too cold. That's T-O-O, because it's too much coldness. Or that is too hot. Yeah, like in Goldilocks. This bed is too rough or too squidgy. That is that kind of to, the Goldilocks to. It's also as well as. So I want to go to. I want to go as well as you. That's that to. And then this to here. This is the number 2. Yeah. That is the number 2, is it? I am 2 years old. Okay? So based on that, which one needs to go where? Well, I think I know where the number 1 needs to go straight away. I think the number 1 needs to go here, because you're talking about the number of cats that you've got. So this one here needs that 2. So we've done that one. Now, this one here, that is too much. Is that 2 as in place, location? Or is that 2 as in over the amount or not enough? Well, it's this one, isn't it? It's too much. It's too little. It's the Goldilocks 2, That is too hot. That is too comfy. That is too much. It is too much. And we can remember it because the 2 has got an extra zero. I don't know what's going on in the back there. All the English teachers I have my guts forgot is if I say that. It's got too many letter O's on it. You know, this too much, too little has too many O's. Okay, so that's a really easy way that you can try and remember it. And that leaves us then with this one. It's the place, it's the location. I want to go home. I want to go to the park. So that one has to be that too. Oh, my pen's running out. Oh no, that's not very good for my writing today, is it? See if I can sort that out in a second. So those are our different types of 2s and the kind of 2s that you can have. So too much, 2 cats, the number, etc., etc. Is that working now? A little bit. I might have to go for the other black pen, which will be awful because it doesn't really show up, does it? Oh well, we'll have a little go. So that is our little warm-up for today, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to carry on with our piece of writing about the way back home. So should we have a recap on what we've written already? Should we have a quick read over the bits that we've done already? So here we go. The first one was, once there was a boy who loved adventure and exploring. Crash, bang, thump. He launched his toys into the cupboard. Suddenly, he found a shiny, red, old-fashioned plane. His arms rocketed into his sleeves, and his feet shot into his shoes. Then the boy decided to hop in the plane and go on a mission. He lifted off into the clear sky, which was full of clouds. Soaring, gliding, flying. Just then, the plane started groaning and growling. There was no petrol left. It was rolling out of control. The boy had to land on the glowing, magnificent moon, which was only a short distance away. Okay, and that's the point we're up to now, when the boy is on the moon. And what's about to happen? Well, the alien is about to arrive. Yeah, so he's alone on the moon, and that is the little bit that we're going to write today, if my pen's working. So one more try. No, that's not great. Right, let's get the emergency pens out. Hold on there a second. I haven't put them somewhere particularly easy to get. Oh no, spilt them everywhere. There's a red one, and there's a purple one, and there's a blue one. None of these colours are what we need. Oh, there's a packet. Aha. There's a black one. So I've got all of these brilliant pens that I bought, but none of them show up on the camera, which is annoying, isn't it? Right, fingers crossed this one works. Can you see that? Yeah, it might make a massive squeak, but at least we've got a pen. Okay, so let's start off our next section a little bit like Oliver Jeffers starts his. He starts his with a question, and he says, what was he going to do? And I think we could start ours with a question as well. Maybe we can change the question slightly. So maybe we could do, what would happen next? Or what was the boy going to do? Or was he alone in the dark? Maybe we could do a question like that. Let's remember that every single question needs to end with a question mark. Just like that. All right, so let's have a little think. We don't want to do any questions like what will I have for tea tonight? that's not related to what we're doing. You know, what would happen next? What was the boy going to do? Was there something in the dark? We can start our questions with is what or was. Maybe how. How will the boy escape off the moon? So what I want you to do is I want you to have a little think. What question might the boy ask himself now he is stuck on the moon? I'm going to do nice big capital letter. What was the boy going to do? And then finish that off with a question mark. So that is my first question sentence. What was the boy going to do? But you might have, how will the boy escape? Or what will the boy do next? Or will the boy escape from the moon? And we ask these rhetorical questions to our audience to get them to think and get them to engage with the text. So now we've done that, he's stranded on the moon. What was the boy going to do? I wonder how he felt. Well, what would his feelings be if he is alone on the moon? Well, he's probably feeling a little bit sad. Maybe we could use a word like miserable. We could use a word like upset. He's also probably feeling emotions like lonely. He's feeling lonely. He's feeling alone. We might try using really complicated language like stranded. If you're stranded, you're left alone somewhere and you can't get off or get away. Stranded. We could say he felt lost, couldn't we? That was one. Lost. He could feel annoyed. He could feel worried. He could feel scared. All of those words are great words to describe how the boy might be feeling while he's here stuck on the moon. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick 3. Now it might be from this list, but you might have some of your own as well. I think I'm going to have lost, alone, and sad. Those are the 3 I'm going to use. Now I want you to watch how I put them together. I'm going to do another repetition of 3 sentences and I'm going to change it. I'm going to say he felt, he felt, he felt, So I'm going to do he felt sad, he felt lost, he felt alone. But you could do he felt upset, he felt scared, he felt stranded. And you're going to repeat the same kind of sentence 3 times and just change how he's feeling, just to let the audience know all the different ways he's feeling. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to rub this off now, so if you need it, quickly pause the video. I'm going to add that onto my piece of writing. Ooh, this pen is difficult to rub off. Right, it's going to move all these off because that shaking noise is irritating me. You might feel irritated, you might use that word. Okay, so I'm going to go with he felt sad. Remember, you can change the word. Capital letter, because we're starting a new sentence. He felt sad. Full stop. He felt lost. Full stop. Now, these kind of repeating sentences that we're doing, you don't want to do them too much. You need to plan for them. You need to put them in where you think they'll be most effective. What was the boy going to do? He felt sad. He felt lost. He felt alone. Oh dear. That's going to make our audience feel really, really sorry for our character. So you can also change your question, and I want you to have a go at changing the emotions. You might not go for sad. He felt furious, he felt irritated, he felt annoyed. You might have your character feeling a little bit more that way. But I've gone with sad. That's the kind of sad and lonely is the way I've gone with my character. Okay? And now we need to introduce the alien. Now, in our last writing lesson on Monday, we came up with loads of different fronted adverbials for suddenly, didn't we? So I think we've had suddenly. I've used suddenly in my first paragraph. And then on Monday, I used right, was it right then I used? I'm going to go back, which is always really good. It's always good to go back to check your writing. No, I used just then. I used just then. So we want some more phrases that we could use like this to introduce the sudden appearance of the spaceship belonging to the alien. So we could have suddenly, we could have just then if you've not used those. We could have right at that moment. Right at that moment. We could have right at that moment. We could have out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. We could have, we've got just then. We could have it that it doesn't happen immediately. We could have something like a little while later or something like that. We could have then. Because you could combine something you can do then, out of nowhere, or then, right at that moment. So you can combine then with a few. Let's try and get one more good idea. Out of nowhere, suddenly, just then, right at that moment, almost instantly. Almost instantly. There we go. So we've got all those different openers to begin our next sentence when something suddenly happens. I'm going to go for right at that moment, I think. Do I want to do right at that moment? Checking back again, double checking what I actually wrote last time, make sure. Yeah, I'm going to go right at that moment, I think. So I'm going to use this one. But you might have your own, or you might pick a different one from my list. So get ready, I'm going to rub them off. Okay. So right at that moment is what I'm going to use to introduce my next sentence. And that just helps my audience understand that it's happening very quickly. So, right at that moment, what happened? So maybe we don't jump straight to seeing it. Maybe the boy hears it first. So right at that moment, but you can change that. If you want him to see it first, you can do. I'm going to do hearing. You could do smelling or something like that. Right at that moment, the boy heard. What kind of noise would it be? Maybe it would be heard an unusual noise. An unusual noise. Right at that moment, the boy heard an unusual noise. Full stop. Oh, maybe we could do a simile and describe what it sounded like. If you're doing a sight, you could say it looked like. So you could do, right at that moment, the boy saw an unusual shape. It looked like, and you can change it that way. But I'm going to do, right at that moment, the boy heard an unusual noise. It looked like, no, it didn't look like. It sounded like, because you can't look like noises. It sounded like, and I imagine this spaceship breaking down is kind of a big clatter, like a bin falling over, a bin hitting the floor. So I might say that. It sounded like a metal bin hitting the floor. A metal bin hitting the floor. A big crash. Right at that moment, the boy heard an unusual noise. It sounded like a metal bin hitting the floor. Well, it's going to be a crashing spaceship, isn't it? So I need to say that's what it actually is, because I said, oh, it sounds like this, but now I need to tell my audience exactly what it was. He looked up, which is the boy. He looked up and saw well, how can I do? What descriptions could I put? Maybe a glistening, spinning spaceship. Glistening, so it's like twinkling like diamonds. A glistening, spinning spaceship. Perfect. Whoa, we've written quite a lot there quite quickly. So let's go back and double check that everything makes sense. What was the boy going to do? He felt sad. He felt lost. He felt alone. Right at that moment, the boy heard an unusual noise. It sounded like a metal bin hitting the floor. He looked up and saw a glistening, spinning spaceship. And everything I've done, a little squiggly line under there, is something that you could potentially change if you wanted to. You could change lots more than that if you wanted. That's an idea. Let's give ourselves one more sentence, just to kind of clarify where the spaceship was. We could say it had crashed into the moon, or it was smoking on the floor, or it looked like it had fallen from the sky, or something, and give our audience an idea of what the sight we're seeing is. So he looked up and saw a glistening spinning spaceship. It was broken, I'm going to say, broken and smoking on the floor. Oh, I've used on the floor over here. I might say on the ground. Smoking on the ground. So that suggests that it's on fire because it has crashed. There we go. On the pen lid. Never mind. And there we have it. I've finished my fourth plot point about the a spaceship arriving on the moon as well with the boy. I'm going to read it all the way through. What was the boy going to do? He felt sad. He felt lost. He felt alone. Right at that moment, the boy heard an unusual noise. It sounded like a metal bin hitting the floor. He looked up and saw a glistening, spinning spaceship. It was broken and smoking on the ground. Ooh, very suspenseful. So there we go. We have written another chunk of our story. What I want you to do is to take our ideas and add your own in. And then you're going to have 4 different parts to your story. And I would love to see some of them. So if you've not already, after you finish your chunk of writing today, you can send it to the email address on the board and I can see the piece of writing that you've been working on. We're going to come together tomorrow to do another reading session, and then next week in our writing we're going to actually look at a different thing. So that is the end of our writing on the way back home. But obviously if you want to carry it on and tell the rest of the story about the boy and the alien, then you absolutely can. So looking forward to seeing your writing, and I will see you tomorrow for our reading session. See you later, guys. Bye.